The year is 539 BC. Inside the greatest palace ever built in the ancient world, 10,000 lamps are burning. The halls of Babylon stretch longer than any structure most people alive have ever seen. Walls rise 60 feet high, glazed in brilliant blue tile, decorated with golden lions and dragons that seem to move in the torchlight. At the center of it all, a king sits on his throne surrounded by 1,000 of his most powerful nobles, wine flowing without restraint. Belshazzar has no fear. Why would he? Babylon's walls have never been breached. Its treasury has no rival. He is the inheritor of the greatest empire in human history, and tonight he intends to celebrate that fact. Everything about this night speaks of invincibility, of empire without end. By sunrise, every person in that room will know that none of it was real. This is the night the hand appeared. Not a man, not an assassin, not an army breaking through the gates. Just a hand disembodied, impossible, emerging from the air itself, writing on the wall of the king's palace, while 5,000 eyes watched in silence. The Book of Daniel preserves this event in detail so specific it reads less like theology and more like testimony. What it describes is one of the most dramatic nights in the entire biblical record. A night when the most powerful empire on earth was told, in plain writing, that its time was finished. By morning, the prophecy had come true. To understand what made this night so explosive, you need to understand what Belshazzar did to ignite it. For decades, critics insisted Belshazzar was a biblical invention. No record of him existed outside scripture. Then archaeology answered. The Nabonidus Chronicle and the verse account of Nabonidus both reference Belshazzar by name. His father Nabonidus had left the city for Arabia, an absence that puzzled historians for centuries, leaving Belshazzar as the effective co-regent. He was real, he was in charge, and what he chose to do at this banquet was not the act of a man who feared anything, human or divine. Bring out the vessels. The text of Daniel chapter 5 is precise. The gold and silver vessels taken from the temple in Jerusalem, objects consecrated to the God of Israel, removed when Nebuchadnezzar destroyed the city and carried its people into exile, were brought into the banquet hall, filled with wine, raised in a toast to the gods of Babylon. This was not carelessness. It was a deliberate statement, a king declaring before 1,000 witnesses that the God of the conquered was nothing, that the sacred was available for entertainment, that no power in heaven or on earth could call him to account. The wine was poured, the cups were raised, and then the room went silent. Imagine standing in that hall when it happens. Someone across the table is laughing, the music is playing, and then the person beside you stops speaking. You follow their eyes to the wall. There, against the plaster beside the lampstand, the brightest spot in the room, fingers appear. Not a shadow, not a trick of the flame, just fingers and a hand moving deliberately across the white surface. Writing. The Book of Daniel describes what happens to the king in one of the most visceral passages in all of Scripture. His face changed, his thoughts terrified him. The joints of his hips loosened and his knees knocked together. The king who feared nothing 1 hour ago cannot stand. He screams for his enchanters and wise men, the best educated men in the most sophisticated empire in the world. Whoever reads this writing will be clothed in purple, given a gold chain, made third ruler in the kingdom. They come, they look, they fall silent. And here the mystery deepens. The words men, tekel, parsin appear to be Aramaic, the common administrative tongue of the empire. These men know that language. They can see the letters. What they cannot do or will not do is declare what they mean in front of 1,000 witnesses and a king who just used the temple cups to toast his gods. The writing remains. The silence stretches. It is the Queen Mother who breaks it. She has lived through the reign of Nebuchadnezzar. She has seen what the God of Israel can do. and she remembers a name that Belshazzar's court has apparently chosen to forget. "There is a man in this kingdom," she tells him, "in whom is the spirit of the holy gods. His name is Daniel. Bring him." Daniel is brought. He is old now, 60 years into the Babylonian exile. He has interpreted Nebuchadnezzar's dreams. He survived the lion's den. He has watched empires in their pride and seen what pride costs. When he enters the banquet hall and looks at the writing on the wall, he does not hesitate. He refuses the purple robe. He refuses the gold chain. "Keep your gifts," he tells the king. "Give your rewards to someone else." 1,000 nobles have spent this evening watching the most powerful man they know crumble in terror. Now they watch an old exile from a conquered nation tell that king to keep his prizes. The silence in the room changes quality. Daniel stands before the throne, not as a subject, but as a witness. And he begins to speak. Mene, Tekel, Parsin. He takes each word in turn. Mene. The word means numbered, and it appears twice, as if the count has been verified, confirmed. "God has numbered the days of your kingdom," Daniel says, "and brought it to an end. The accounting is closed. No appeal, no extension. The air in the hall changes. No one moves. Tekel, you have been weighed on the scales and found wanting." Everything Belshazzar has done placed on one side of the balance. His arrogance, his contempt. Those cups raised tonight to gods of stone while filled with wine from the temple of the living God. All of it weighed, all of it insufficient. 1,000 powerful people, and not one of them speaks. Parsin, your kingdom is divided and given to the Medes and Persians. The word means divided, but in Aramaic, it sounds like the word for Persia. The nation that will replace Babylon is named inside the judgment itself. 3 verdicts, no metaphor, no ambiguity. 3 facts about the immediate future, delivered by a disembodied hand on a plaster wall during a banquet. Belshazzar follows through on his promise. Daniel receives the purple robe, the gold chain, the proclamation. It is a remarkable gesture, dressing a man in royal honors for telling you that you will die tonight. And then night falls over Babylon. Outside the walls, something has been in motion for months. Cyrus the Great had been advancing on the city all year. The ancient historians, Herodotus, Xenophon, and the Nabonidus Chronicle itself, preserve what happens next. Babylon's walls were impenetrable, so the Persian army does not attack them. Instead, they divert the Euphrates River, which flows through channels beneath the city walls. When the water level drops, soldiers walk through the dry riverbed and enter Babylon from within, while the population is occupied with a festival. The convergence is exact. A city holding a massive royal celebration, a river quietly redirected in the dark. An empire ending not through siege, but through a single night of distraction. That very night, Daniel chapter 5 concludes, Belshazzar the Chaldean king was killed. The Neo-Babylonian Empire, the power that had seemed as permanent as the blue tile of the Ishtar Gate, ceased to exist before morning. The hand did not cause Babylon's fall. The Persians were already outside, the river was already being diverted. What the hand did was something different. It named the moment. It made visible what was already true. It ensured that when morning came, no one in that room could say they had not been warned. The mystery of the writing on the wall is not a mystery about letters or language. It is a mystery about the relationship between power and accountability, about what happens when a king surrounded by every symbol of invincibility discovers that the universe is keeping a different record entirely, that somewhere, on scales none of us can see, choices are being measured. Mene, Tekel, Parsin. These 3 words have outlived every kingdom that ever dismissed them. We still use the phrase today, the writing on the wall, when we want to describe the moment a fall becomes inevitable, and the only question remaining is whether anyone is willing to read what is already written. Belshazzar held the cups of the Jerusalem temple in his hands and raised them to gods of stone. And before he could set them down, the answer came, not from an army, not from a prophet in the marketplace, from a hand emerging from nowhere in the brightest spot in the room while the music was still playing.